Urban legend has it this is actually half of a small block Chevy. I think we should find the other half and put it back together. One of the reasons I like coming here is because these guys like things often a little bit outside the box, and this is definitely outside the box. Hey, I'm Craig Rodsmith, and I'm here again at the Throttlestop Museum, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. How many of you have ever heard of a Motus? Those of you who haven't, this is an American-built motorcycle that unfortunately production run didn't last that long, 2015 to 2017. That was it. They're out of Birmingham, or were out of Birmingham, Alabama. These things are incredible, like big horsepower, we're talking 160 plus, and there was a couple of different configurations, different horsepower, different bikes. They were extremely fast sport touring bikes. This model is the MST-R, which, as I said, these things were often over 160 horsepower. This was 180 horsepower in this configuration. It's almost like a small car engine, kind of like the Munch Mammoth, but these engines were actually designed for this bike. It's a V4 pushrod engine coupled with the trans. Ironically, you would think you're putting a crank this way, you're going to run shaft drive, but they don't. They run into this transmission behind it, and it runs a traditional chain drive for a motorcycle. One of the really cool things about this is they used really high-end components. Now, admittedly, they weren't cheap bikes. They were relatively expensive. But in my opinion, you got so much for what you would pay for one of these things. I mean, they have, Brembo brakes, Olin suspension, you name it. It's just dribbling with high-end accessories. And it doesn't sort of end with, the typical stuff like Öhlins and Brembo. It's like Migura levers, carbon fiber mags. I mean, they haven't sort of overlooked anything that's high end on this thing. Like I said, they're quick. They're so quick, as a matter of fact, just a couple of years ago, a good friend of mine, Max Hazen, who's a fellow custom motorcycle builder, he chose this engine and transmission for the basis of his bike called the Salt Shaker. He got a land speed record at Bonneville with just a couple of years ago, and he went well over 200 miles an hour with a turbocharged version of this engine. They're pretty fast and they're very impressive, and they're bulletproof motors. He pushed his to the limit, so I think it's going to have enough power for the rest of us. As a lifelong motorcycle enthusiast, both a custom builder and rider, amongst other things, I find it's really sad, especially it's an American icon, it's become, even though it only lasted for 2 years, but it's so sad that it ceases to be. And it's so unfortunate, but que sera, sera. But luckily we still have some great examples of them. I think the irony of this bike is, it's an American motorcycle. It was made in Birmingham, Alabama. And nothing against the style of American bikes. This doesn't look typically American style. This thing almost looks European, but it has this American brute engine in it. I think I don't want to say a juxtaposition, but it's what a great combination of design, horsepower, and incredible components. So if you were going to start a new American motorcycle company, what would be the first things you would think of? Maybe not a lot of the things that they've done here, which is kind of why I like it, because it's way outside the box. Like, let's put a V4 engine in it running traversely along the frame, and then put this transmission and then make it chain drive, which keeps it conventional. I like the chain drive. But also, let's put a bunch of really high-end European parts on it, make it handle and perform. So the nice thing about this, it isn't just this brute strength motorcycle, it's something that actually handles and stops and has incredible reliability. Obviously, the power to weight ratio is off the charts. It's quick. But one of my favorite things about this is the way it sounds. So I think we should listen to it. Maybe we should take it outside and see what it does. Again, thanks for joining us here at the Throttlestop in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. I'm Craig Rodsmith. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit like and share.